Sorry to make this mostly group of animators come out of the shadows and talk in front of everybody. We're behind the camera for a reason. Maybe we could first go down the line and everyone can introduce themselves and what film or films you worked on.
My name is MARAL. I am mostly a musician or artist, musical artist, but I did collaborate with a bunch of the animators here, and I did contribute to the video Setar Rock, and yeah.
I'm Ellie, and I'm a claymation stop-motion animator, and I also make music. And the video you guys saw was Planes of Radiance. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Jackie. The film that I worked on, Setar Rock with MARAL and Annapurna Kumar, and it's part of kind of larger collaboration involving performance and a bunch of stuff.
Hi, I'm Annapurna. I worked on Setar Rock with these two, Azizimon, the last one, and Mirror Products catalog.
Hi, I'm Martha Colburn, and I've known Sam a long time, and I just met Ellie. And I've known MARAL a few years, and I'm so part of my community's here. I'm happy. I made the embarrassing films. I made What's On, 16 millimeter, and Scala-Television, which some people I saw them hide their eyes because not damaged, and Metamorphose, a doll film. Thank you. Ooh, thank you.
So I already have a mic. You hold that one.
Okay.
So I think, in the realm of traditional animation, we can really understand how those films are made, right? In a traditional narrative piece. You write a script, you make a storyboard, and then you just kind of knock it out. It's more work than that, but you knock it out. For work like this that's more experimental and more sculptural, really I feel like the process is really illuminating. I would love to ask a few of you about your processes. Ellie's holding the mic.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ellie's film was the second to last film, and I know you're a musician. It's accompanying a piece of music as well. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us a bit about your process for not only making the visuals, but for the music as well, and then where they start to come together?
Well, usually when I make music, I can't just make music without a picture in mind or a building or characters in mind. So I usually start with just building the characters aimlessly, kind of trusting the process, and then building these sets and listening to specific music that fits the sets that I wanted to capture. And then I start scoring it once I feel pleased with how it looks. And I scored on Ableton. I have a synth and do a lot of stuff with plugins and my voice and stuff. And then once I'm getting to the shooting process, I spend so long just experimenting with lighting and trying the best angle for the lighting, because once you get that right spot for the characters, it's looks like it's glowing and it looks very dreamlike, and that's my goal. And then I shoot, and I know I got a good shot once my back hurts and I'm sweating.
That's how you know. For you is, maybe just because I'm wearing my Bruce Bickford shirt, but
oh my God.
I'm a fan. I guess you are too. He's fantastic. And
yeah, my legend.
One of the things I love about his process is that he kept working on his films years after years after years after he made them. Even films that had come out, he would just well, it's not done yet. I need to keep working on it. And I feel like when I see your film, I can imagine you returning to it and continuing to work on it.
Yeah,
so
no, I trust the process, and I could work on things for years and years. It could be 10 years, and I'm it's not done yet. I gotta keep adding. But this project, I'm okay, it's done. Chill out. But funny you brought up Bruce Bickford, because I was gonna bring him up in influences.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we love Bickford here.
Oh, yeah.
He's a sage. Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I would love to hear about the process, maybe from the piece Setar Rock, and we'll need to hear from Annapurna, Jackie, and then MARAL, who has sunk into the background.
Come out of the shadows.
So Setar Rock was the second piece that you saw today that used a lot of video. And it's interesting to see it here because I've seen it in its original context where it was part of a performance. And I know that many of the visuals were created through a video game that you made. I'm probably more than a video game, but I would love to hear more about how that was created and then how that manifested in what we saw today. Here, I'll even give you another mic.
First, I just want to point out that we've moved back collectively like 5 feet in the process of this interview. Slowly, we're going to disappear behind the screen.
That'd be better, like this.
Well, I was approached by Annapurna and MARAL to try to do this collaboration for an upcoming tour that MARAL was doing, and it just kind of all came together. I've done performances like this in the past where I kind of like make a sort of video game world in Game Engine and sort of explore it during the performance as part of the kind of visuals. And so Annapurna had all this material that she had made for previous MARAL works, like textures and models and little animated guys and all this stuff. So we kind of collaborated, we vibed, we all mind melded, and kind of came together with this performance that is a lot different than the video that you saw, but a very similar vibe.
And the videos were all picked out by MARAL. She's always got the best like Persian folk video sample collection. So we're kind of thinking about like how those videos can live alongside digital animation and like how they talk to each other and how they sort of like abstract and slide in and out and relate to each other.
And I guess I picked those videos specifically because I sample a lot of music from rural Iran, like different regions of Iran and different villages. So I'm always like looking at YouTube videos of different villages in Iran, and I incorporate that into, like making little videos on iMovie. So initially I had made this video for Setar Rock kind of just to promote it on social media. So using iMovie, I created it taking clips from YouTube videos. I was telling my parents today, I was like, I took clips from strangers' YouTube videos of walking around Iran, and they were like, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. And then I made a little video in iMovie, and then I shared it with Anna, and I was like, can we take this to the next level? And Anna and Jackie totally did, and I appreciate it. And yeah, we have a whole visual piece that we did for a tour that I did with Ellie Thatcher, and it was really cool, and we got to play it in Big Sur together live, and that was really special because nature is a big part of my visual world.
Shout out iMovie also. So this piece, since it is generated within this video game world, and it was used as part of a performance, I'm wondering how much consistency matters in it, because I imagine it would be different each time it's performed. Is that something that you're interested in, like hitting the same beats, or is each night like just sort of what happens in the ether?
Well, we created like different worlds, kind of like different levels. There's 7 levels with different themes. So we kind of timed those to May's songs. So maybe the specific like camera work is different each time, but the same general imagery is there at certain times.
Cool. When is it coming out on Steam?
We're working on it. We're working on it. May has to choose which songs we're going to use.
For those of you that don't know, Steam is a service in which you can buy video games. I can see my students vehemently nodding yes. So we're waiting. MARAL, I have another question for you in terms of collaboration. So MARAL worked on Ground Groove with Brenna Murphy, who's primarily a musician, as well. Can you tell us about that collaboration and how it came to be? Because most of these pieces that are made with your music are just your music, not necessarily your visuals. So I'd really love to hear more about the process for Ground Groove specifically.
So yes, for Ground Groove, I was asked to be a part of this music festival in, it's like a Dutch music festival in Europe called Rewire Festival. It's really cool, and it links up different types of artists together. So they linked Brenna and I together, and it's funny because at first Brenna was linked with a different musical artist, and she didn't like that person's music, so she had like the balls to be like, no, link me with another artist. So thank God for that, because we got to link, and this was during the pandemic, so it was online, which I also really liked. So we got to work on it online, exchanging stuff. And this was like the first time where it kind of was like a back and forth of audio and visual, because usually when I work with Anna, I've already created the music, and Anna's kind of building off of that, although we are always in conversation with each other, so that's a whole nother thing. But with Brenna, it was like I made 5 minutes of music, and I sent it to her, and then she sent me the first 5 minutes of that, and then I was like, oh shit, okay, I need to like step it up, like this is like a whole nother thing, like it just became something beyond what I was expecting.
She'll get rid of you too, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, thank God those first 5 minutes were good. And then we kind of went back and forth where I sent her another 10 minutes of music, and she made another 10 minutes, and then I sent another 5 minutes, I think, because it's like a 14-minute piece. So we went back and forth, and for like this last half where she kind of has that little creature that kind of goes around, I had told her about the YouTube video that I had sampled for the music, because I also sample YouTube videos for my music. And so I sent her the YouTube video, which is, again, a video of a rural area of Iran, a region, and they're talking about how it's gotten so much harder to live in the rural areas of Iran with the economy and everything, and just like, so it was like kind of all about that. And then she really took that in such an interesting way and incorporated it in the visuals where you see those mountains and the dirt and the trees and stuff like that. So that was really cool to go back and forth. And then from that, I created a whole album called Ground Groove, and based it kind of off of that first 14 minutes of music. And then I made more music, and then Brenna made one more music video for it. The dream was to make a whole audiovisual piece for the whole album, but we didn't have time or money. So, but I'm so thankful for what we were able to do, and it was through Rewire Festival giving us this money to work together.
Let's get more money from the Dutch government for you guys to keep working. I do have some questions for you, Martha, who has also receded into the deep back there. So I think, I'm lucky enough to know a little bit about your process because I briefly interned for Martha back when we were still on the East Coast. And what I was really struck by, I don't know exactly what you were working on at the time, but you were animating vertically with like magnets on your puppets on these glass panes, and which is quite unusual. I would love to hear about the process for how you physically move your puppets around. And if you haven't gotten a chance already to see them, please do so after the Q&A.
Yes, anyone can stand up and physically move around if your seat's uncomfortable. Like I just animated this Pilates rat. Okay. And the way I did this, now this film hasn't premiered yet. This is for a very secret artist. But so you put magnets behind the different joints. So it's just like people use computers and put points in After Effects, and it moves the things, but I just use magnets and glass. So this has a magnet, this has a magnet.
Are you still animating vertically?
Huh?
Are you still animating vertically?
Yeah, I'm just scrappy. I'll just do it vertical, and I'll be like, oh, that doesn't work, and I'll just take the glass down and put it on a box, put a clamp light on it, and do it horizontal.
It's all modular.
Yes.
I do have a question about your first film that played, Metamorphoso, which for those of you, I know the program is a little out of order, but was the piece with the butterflies and the dolls. And it has this really incredible soundtrack. I was hoping, Martha, you could speak to how that soundtrack came to be. I think it's a collaboration with this musician. Can you tell us more?
It was like a ping pong game, like MARAL's story. It was I would animate 10 seconds and send it to the composer because he was composing for a whole orchestra. Cool. So he had to have time and I had to have time. We had to have it done in like, of course, probably, I don't know, 5 weeks or something. So I would do 10 seconds and yeah, it was the same. Similar to MARAL.
Animators are jocks.
Felipe
We're all playing ping
Waller,
pong.
he's a Mexican-Dutch composer. And that's it, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I have a few other questions. I'm trying to think where to go next. I mean, the biggest one that's been on my mind really is between this ongoing collaboration between MARAL and Annapurna Kumar. I'm sure you noticed there were overlap of those names a few times in the program. And I know that you've known each other for a while. College? High school? High school.
Middle
high
school.
Can you tell us about how you two beautiful weirdos came together and started making such beautiful art? Here's another mic.
I don't know. We met in I guess we met in Girl Scouts.
True. I only did Girl Scouts for a year, and I only did it for the trips because my parents would only allow me to go out in that context.
A lot of like drunken ski trips with the Girl Scouts. And
Yes.
They would make the mixed CDs that we would dance to.
What troop were you in, drunken
But we really got into truly collaborating with each other once we both moved to Los Angeles. In college, we were always in conversation. Anna and Diana were basically the only people who listened to my music. And Danny's here as well. And yeah, I feel like those three people were always around for me to be able to share and talk to them about what I was trying to do. And at the same time, Anna was also exploring animation and was making music videos for some of our other friends. And it was really interesting to me. So once we moved to LA, I had this club night called No Rules, and Anna would come and do the visuals. And we were like partners in it. And it was like our first year living in LA, and it allowed us to really expand our community and meet so many cool artists and DJs and go to raves and be crazy. And I think that really influenced both of us. And I kind of hear that in Anna's piece as well, the Mirrors piece, like kind of our electronic rave background. And then as I started moving away from the rave scene, I started kind of creating my own little videos, like I was saying, using YouTube and iMovie. But then we realized that we could continue collaborating with each other outside of a DJ setup. So once I started playing live, Anna started doing the visuals, and I think just working with Anna is so amazing because I never have to tell her what to do. Like in general, when I work with my collaborators, I don't want to tell them, I don't have a say in that zone. Like I just express myself, I show them the music, and then I trust them enough to do something beautiful, So it's like, I love that idea of just trust and also going beyond oneself and seeing how someone else would react to your art in a different medium as well. So that's my favorite way of working with people, is not, because a lot of the times artists will hire someone to make a music video, but to me, a music video is not the same. I'm just not that type of artist, so I'm kind of doing something different in terms of when I collaborate visually with other artists. It's not, I don't see it as music videos, even though they're technically music videos. So yeah, I feel like we kind of been growing together, and I'm always inspired by Anna's work. So and Anna's artistic community, you all like inspire me all the time. So yeah, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
That's the Girl Scouts, y'all. On my honor, I will try. That's the Girl Scout oath. So we're all brought up the Mirror Products film, which was the second to last film that Annapurna was involved in. And MARAL is not involved as a musician. I think it's Kevin Eskew and maybe somebody else. And Anna. What doesn't she do? Can you tell us about the Mirror film? Because I'm pretty familiar with your body of work, and it's pretty distinct in its subject matter. I think it's an approach to 3D. What about what is the genesis of this film, and what about the objects inspired you?
Yeah, I bought a book on eBay called Mirror Products Catalog from the USSR. I think it's 1988. I could only see the cover when I bought it. I knew I wanted to make a film about mirrors. And then it showed up and it was just like filled with these amazing images, which are in the film, which are very colorful, and it has a lot of models, female models who are like not smiling and totally uncredited. So the film is like reimagining them as being more active, as being the ones that are making the book. I think they smile at some point. Yeah, so it's kind of just like a little fantasy about what all those ladies might have been doing in a big warehouse full of mirrors.
And you're using a variety of animation techniques. It's 3D animation, but it's also some physical replacement animation as well. What else are we seeing?
Yeah, I did a lot of like printing out multiple copies of certain things that I took out of the book. I used some of the images from the book as like textures on the CG. I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. It was great to see it so big. I've only seen it quite small, so it's lovely to see it large and in charge. I just have a few more questions, and then I'll open it up to the audience. Ellie, my understanding is that you're largely a self-taught animator. Is that correct? Cool. Love that. I love that, I say, as an animation instructor. Can you tell us how you came to animation and how you came to this type of animation? What are your influences, and how did you learn about successive motion? Who told you?
Okay, so I've always been like wanting to make movies. I started making like zombie movies, and I started making Sims movies, and then I kind of learned about perspectives in Sims, and I like started doing like green walls, like green screen, as like at a really young age.
In the Sims video game, like the computer
like
game?
Sims 2, yeah.
Okay. House Party?
Yeah, and then I would edit it on programs, and that's like how I got into editing at a very young age. And yeah, I was talking about Bruce Bickford, and like when you said him, I'm like, but I watched Monster Road at a young age, and that was kind of like my first introduction to like experimental claymation, and it just really resonated with me, like the creating these intricate worlds that you kind of play God, and when you feel like you have like lack of control in your life, like you have control over these worlds and you play God, like Sims too. And I just like kind of became obsessed with that and started like, my grandma like had a dollhouse in my childhood home, and I would like make these fucked up sculptures and just like animating them and like mess up the dollhouse. But yeah, I kind of started from there.
Cool, really? Just a lot of playing in the Sims, playing in the dollhouse.
Yeah. Play, yeah.
Would love to see your early Sims work.
I have one of my Google Drive.
Well, I bought the DVD, so maybe it's on there in the special features. Very cool. There's a whole world of people making Sims-based films. I don't know if you guys are aware. It's a great YouTube deep dive to go on.
Sims Machinima.
Truly. I'm so happy to have you in the program, Ellie, and as well as Martha, because I feel like your films really speak sort of the same language. Similar language of stop motion, of the freneticism of the editing, and maybe even have similar influences. Martha, your work is shot on film, and you don't have playback, correct? When you're seeing it, you just shoot it, and you see it when it gets developed. You don't have playback? Okay.
Because that was on a super deadline.
5 weeks.
And the other ones, no, it's longer than that. I was looking at that because I hadn't seen that film in a long time. When you see these skeletons and the camera's kind of shaking and they're kind of glowing, that's hand-scratched 35 millimeter film. And then I made my own little window onto a light box and refilmed it on Super 8. I reanimated onto Super 8. That's why they kind of have that glow. So sometimes things do go through long long, dirty, shaky processes.
Yes, love a dirty process.
Yes.
Are there any questions from the audience? I'd love to open it up. There's a lot of you here. Oh, yes, I have a question here.
I mean, all of your work is very textural more than anything. Could you speak to how you're kind of informed by textures and process of making movies in terms of how you kind of select how to use them both digitally, both stop motion, in just how those kind of come to be and how you decide to kind of highlight the textures the way you do.
Gonna move the mic to the.
Who's this? I don't know. Who's the question to?
Well, just all of, I guess all of you have a lot of varying textures in your work.
Actually, Maral will give me like words that are textures a lot. She'll be like, use rocks, use dirt. So that's a big one.
Ellie, maybe? No. Okay. I think part of that might be my own curatorial bias because I really love texture. So in putting this program together, I was specifically looking for work that featured a lot of tactility, be it digital or handcrafted. A few of these films use palimpsest animation, or it's called destructive animation, or draw and erase, like The Eastern Rain and Jumping Joan, and there's a lot of texture innate in that. Jumping Joan is in part done on plaster, so there's texture there, and then The Eastern Rain is painted really thick, like impasto paint, on this canvases and wooden surfaces, so you get all the grit from there on top of the painting texture. So I didn't make those films, but I sure do like them, and I think the texture is a really rich, beautiful part of them. I don't know if that answered your question, but anybody else? You can also just compliment them. Okay. We love you guys. Thank you so much. If there's no more questions, just another round of applause for the filmmakers. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you, Filmforum. Thank you, our projectionists, and thank all of you for coming. Please look at Martha's puppets here. Ellie has DVDs for sale in the lobby. MARAL has albums and tapes for sale. The bar will be back open. Have a good night, guys.
How you kind of, select how to use them both digitally, both stop motion, in just how those kind of things to be, how you decide to kind of highlight the textures the way you do.
Gonna move.
Who's the question to?
Ellie's texture.
Well, just all of, I guess all of you have a lot of varying textures in your work.
Actually, Maral will give me like words that are textures a lot. She'll be like, use rocks, use dirt. So that's a big one.
I think part of that might be my own curatorial bias because I really love texture. So in putting this program together, I was specifically looking for work that featured a lot of tactility, be it digital or handcrafted. A few of these films use palimpsest animation, or it's called destructive animation, or draw and erase, like The Eastern Rain and Jumping Joan, and there's a lot of texture innate in that. Jumping Joan is in part done on plaster, so there's texture there, and then The Eastern Rain is painted really thick, like impasto paint, on this canvases and wooden surfaces, so you get all the grit from there on top of the painting texture. So I didn't make those films, but I sure do like them. And I think the texture is a really rich, beautiful part of them. I don't know if that answered your question. Anybody else? You can also just compliment them. We love you. We love you guys. Thank you so much. If there's no more questions, just another round of applause for the filmmakers. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you, Filmforum. Thank you, our projectionists. Thank all of you for coming. Please look at Martha's puppets here. Ellie has DVDs for sale in the lobby. MARAL has albums and tapes for sale. The bar will be back open. Have a good night.
Thank you.